Let's get into Russia here because we're talking about China, and this does matter. Russia, China, this is my concern. Yeah. Russia, who cares? Russia with China? Ooh, that's worst case scenario. That's World War III type stuff, especially if China starts moving on Taiwan. But a lot of groups now have been pushing back really hard. Have you seen this with Russia?
Yeah.
Bans on things like Russian products, services, organizations. So there's been a proactive approach now across the board from the world's biggest companies to publicly try and stifle Russia's ability to do commerce, right? And also embarrass them on the world. We've almost seen this in history before.
Yeah.
And it not working out well.
Ever.
But this is what they're doing, the most powerful companies and organizations in the world.
So here's what Apple is doing specifically in terms of actions in response, pausing all product sales in Russia. Also, Apple says last week we stopped all exports into our sales channel into the country. Apple Pay and other services have been limited. Russia Today News and Sputnik News are no longer available for download on the App Store outside of Russia.
Google said on Tuesday that it had blocked mobile apps connected to Russian news outlets RT and Sputnik from its Play Store. It comes after the company confirmed that it had removed Russian state-funded publishers, including RT, from its news-related features, including the Google News search tool. The European Union also banned RT and Sputnik with immediate effect for systematic disinformation over Russia's invasion of Ukraine on Wednesday.
We have just learned that the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee is now joining the IOC and global Olympic community in calling for a complete ban on all Russian athletes competing because of the invasion in Ukraine.
Piercing.
This would be effective immediately.
This just in from
But I've been
FIFA.
doping.
FIFA and UEFA have today
Open a
decided
can with
together
her
that
chin.
all Russian teams, both national and club, shall be suspended from participation in both FIFA and UEFA competitions.
Because they were going to compete anyway.
So hold on, let me just make sure I understand this. When you're talking about Apple, you're talking about Google. So the Russian government finally became as offensive as Donald Trump and Parler were just for existing. Just to be clear, they were removed from these places a long time ago. It took this long for Russia to be removed. My point is, do I think it's silly? Yeah, I don't think that any of them should be removed.
Done?
But removing Donald, do we need to do a segment?
Yeah. Period.
Well, especially when you helped, I don't know, build them.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's not like
really Frankenstein's monster at this point.
Well, let's also talk about another point here, right? Google, YouTube. Hey, hold on a second. Is TikTok still available in the App Store? By the way, the actual Chinese Communist Party has a stake in TikTok and actually has, not just to say, they can tell you what to upload and determine what is to be banned, which, by the way, we still have not been banned from TikTok, but we're going to do another trash TikTok segment at the end of this. I'm going to try my hardest.
Yeah. Well, I know that the NBA's probably canceled all their promotions.
Right.
China broadcasting deals, merchandise deals, all of that, right?
Yes.
Because of them killing Uyghurs.
To use Google as an example, Google, YouTube, not only doesn't ban propaganda from the communist Chinese government, they will actually adhere to the rules of the communist Chinese government and not allow certain content to be viewable in those countries. This is a country that commits genocide. The whole idea, this is grandstanding. This is virtue signaling on the international stage. Look, we're banning Russia. All right, TikTok's gone? Well.
Why wouldn't you? Why would you want to silence people, though, when you want to know what they're doing? Just on top of it.
Exactly.
Just to keep an eye on them. On top of it, that's stupid.
It's that whole point that you are allowing, misinformation and disinformation, and so now you get to just say, well, this side doesn't get to get their point out. Like, and look, I am pro-Ukraine in all of this. We've had these conversations before. But the information coming out of Ukraine is not necessarily reliable either. We've seen like 4 or 5 stories that have been put out that have been like, well, that's not quite what happened, or that didn't actually happen at all the way that they said it. And so I don't know that Ukraine is trying to put out misinformation or disinformation, but I guarantee you there is a war for hearts and minds of people around the world right now, and it would be stupid of them not to highlight some of these cases and go, see what the Russians are doing, it's bad, come to our aid.
Yeah.
And it would be stupid for Russia not to say, see, here's what we're doing. If their goal is to go in and take over the country, just let people see it.
People can go back and watch the State of the Union stream that we did. What did former Vice President Biden, what did he spend, a minute and a half on China? Look, don't think, it's always funny to me, like we've talked about with Pfizer, and we heard in the Biden speech, it was, oh, great vaccines, and then, oh, horrible big pharma, and then you have to go back to great vaccines. For some reason now, people who talk about campaign finance law and Citizens United and people who complain about corporate interests don't see the card game with Google, with Apple, with Twitter, with Facebook? Do you really think that these same people who let the Ayatollah and Hamas and the Communist Chinese Party, by the way, the ambassador from China who said that the United States military created COVID, in case you've forgotten that, these companies who allow that and ban Parler, a conservative app, and ban the sitting president of the United States, they do nothing with Communist China. And right now they want you to go, oh, wow, look, well, they're really taking a stand, really taking a stand here with Russia. It's bold and brave. It's about as brave as Benedict Cumberbatch's chaps. Now.
They were pretty brave and bold.
Well, the name brand was Brave, but
yes,
I thought they were Buffalo. Turns out they were Brave.
The woolly ones were bold brand.
The leather ones were Brave. Now, what is the net effect of this? And we'll get to how this affects, unfortunately, the everyday Russian citizen. But, of course, one of the effects is people do stupid things. Here's a bar owner pouring out Russian, not really, vodka.
So the Naughty Parrot Oasis owner says he did this.
We pulled any bottle that would have any tie to Russia. So we pulled Smirnoff, Stoli, a couple Smirnoff flavors.
What if someone would say, like, Smirnoff is made in USA?
It is, but it's more of a symbolic gesture.
I'm kind of retarded.
To get
from his beard to that, he has no
Russia,
original thought.
Quite a while ago, but we wanted to pull anything that would have any kind of Russian tie to it.
I'm surprised he doesn't have dangly earlobes after the spacers, the dangly ones.
But Dave, it's
just followed a trend in his life.
Yeah, it's the Naughty Parrot bar.
Yeah,
it's so original.
Yeah. How's that Vampire Weekend tattoo aging, you prick?
Getting it covered.
What? Of Montreal, but hey, what'd you do? I'm sensitive about it. 3 years from now in the bar with his buddies. What's that Imagine Dragons neck tattoo? I can't get a job. It's bad enough.
It's purple and yellow now. It's for Ukraine.
Yeah.
I love Ukraine.
I'm in international studies now.
Do me a favor, point it out on a map.
Yeah. If someone told you to be on Russia's side, you would have been.
Yes, exactly. Did he get rid? Also, he got rid of all Rocky IV DVDs.
Yes, he did.
So that was made in America. Yeah, but it had features of there's a Russian guy in it. So, do you know your beard balm comes from Russia? Well, yeah, but I'm not. I can't be without. Look, I'm making sacrifices, but I'm human.
Yeah. Yeah. What about the 600,000 or 700,000 barrels of oil we buy a day?
Oh, I thought that we were getting green energy. I drive a I don't need to worry about energy. I drive a Tesla. Oh, how do you charge it? Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
So
get into the
I
wall.
plug my car in and tell everyone how great I am.
The Ukrainian government, yes, they reported that Belarusian troops invaded. Right? The U.S. intelligence said no. No evidence of that.
Well,
and then the Belarusian president said no.
Yeah.
So we don't necessarily know, but I'm going with probably no.
I mean, it's likely that could happen and will happen. So that's the thing. I don't know who to trust here.
Right.
I have no idea. My own government right now, I'm like, I don't know. You guys said Russia collusion doc was A-okay.
Well, and here's the real problem with this, too, is there are quite a few problems. But there's misinformation, yes. And then Google, Facebook, Twitter, Apple, they're going to determine what is misinformation. Hey, that's worked like a charm with, ever. Point to any example. Elections, COVID, the Russia story with Donald Trump, the Hunter Biden story, right? It's always been fantastic when you put the power of what information is allowed in the hands of, 4 companies. And Jen Psaki threatens them on the stage.
Well, yeah.
She's like, I'm not trying to affect private companies, but if you want to come to our wine mixer, looking at you, whatever the guy's name is at Apple who's not Steve Jobs. What's his name? I always forget his name. The new guy.
Tim Cook.
The one without the
soulless
prostate.
Yeah, no.
The one who they're hiring for that new godforsaken Western.
Yep.
It's just Tim Cook and Brian Stelter on a waterbed.
Pete Buttigieg is ready to sign on.
That's a Secretary of Transportation. That's the kind of secretary you don't want bringing your coffee in the morning.
Very loud on the Western back.
No creamer.
Very sticky.
Now, they've also had bans on Russian businesses. And let me get to kind of the danger that here. So Nike online sales, Disney film releases, UPS and FedEx shipments, Visa, MasterCard network access. That's kind of a big one. Apple and Google Pay. It may not seem like a big deal, but a lot of services in Russia, for example, the Moscow Metro, runs on these services. These kinds of sanctions go after the average Russian citizen. So who's affected by, well, we know here in the United States, who's affected by these energy, just absolute quagmires? When we're talking about Nord Stream 2, we're talking about shutting down our own pipelines here, right? Fracking. When we're talking about the, I keep forgetting the name of that pipeline.
Keystone?
Keystone.
Yeah. Just think of terrible beer.
Think of Keithstone.
Excuse me.
Who's affected? Americans.
You're right.
Former Vice President Joe Biden, he even said that. He even said that in his speech. It affects you, the Americans, when you look at a lot of these sanctions, when you look at a lot of these policies. Well, who does this affect? This doesn't. Joe Biden said he was going after oligarchs. By shutting out Apple and Google Pay and Visa and MasterCard access, do any of you actually believe that that only affects the multi-billionaire oligarchs? No, it affects the average day Russian citizen. And here is my worry. You either need to, this is basically an act of war without declaring war.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.